Hello and welcome to our podcast, The Ups and Downs of a Small Business Owner, where we hope to show you exactly what it's like to grow a business. Today I'm with Alan Frost, business owner, gamer, dad. How else would you describe yourself?
That's it. You've summed it up to a T.
So what do I know about you? So you kind of started a business with your dad? Was it just you and your dad at the time?
So I left uni. I was going to do anything else other than work with my dad at the time. My uncle, he was sort of trying to help my dad out at the time. My dad was working at the Holiday Inn. He'd worked there for years. I don't know, his health was going a bit downhill. So my uncle was like, look, let's sort something out. Let's try and point you in a direction, and get things going. Just trying to help him out. So started off on the removal side of things. Got a couple Luton vans. My dad used to do it ages ago, so he thought, I can still do this.
Yeah.
Turns out he couldn't. Age catches up with you. I weren't built for it either. So then we thought, wait a minute, we've got these vans. What can we do with them? We only had a couple. So we looked into hiring them out. A lot more complicated than it should be. I had to get some weird insurance from some company. I think it's Guernsey or something like that.
Good.
Someone on a boat somewhere runs it all. But they ended up going bust a couple of years after. I think it ran away with people's money. You had to get that. You can't just go and get insurance off the bat. Everyone wants a couple of years,
right?
Especially in that, it's so high risk. It's high risk. So started off like that with a couple. It was pay as you go. Someone came in. We'd have to do this long process just to give them a van in the first place. It'd take about 20 minutes.
Right.
Then they'd leave. We had to do that for 2 years, and then until we could get another insurance company. And now it's literally easy as you like, but difficult at the start.
So at the beginning, it's horrendous, trying to get it going. It was just you and your dad?
Yeah, just me and my dad for a little while as well.
Going through everything, starting up. Do you have an office? Do you have anywhere?
We had a little office. That was the wrong place as well, because obviously we started off doing removals. Our office was more catered towards. We had a little bit of storage and hardly any parking. And then obviously halfway through the year, now we want to do van hire. We've got very little parking and a lot of unit, and it was the wrong fit. So we had to move from there as well. But we had to sign maybe a 2-year or a 3-year on that one.
Lease, yeah. Yeah. So almost waiting for that to finish.
Yeah.
Moved into kind of van hire and stuff like that. Did you do a lot of the work? Did your dad do a lot of the admin?
Yeah, so the way it worked early on, I think my dad underestimated the paperwork side of it.
Yeah.
So he was borderline dyslexic, his reading and writing, and everything. He'd get by. It weren't good enough for a lot of the stuff that we needed to do.
Yeah.
But he didn't really relay that onto my uncle either. So my uncle would think that everything was hunky dory. There was my dad making mistakes on forms left, right, and centre. If someone had an accident, we wouldn't really have a leg to stand on. I ended up taking control of most things, pretty much learning the business from the ground up, because we'd never done anything like it before. No. So I'm still learning now.
Oh, you're telling me? What, 8 years now?
8
still
years.
Learning?
Yeah.
So am I. And hopefully we carry on learning. Yeah. That's it. So, okay then. So we'll fast forward a year. Kind of talk me through what happened, or now you're running the company? Yeah.
I think it was about a year after that my dad passed away. Not too far after. Maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
Because, my dad's been dead 7 years. Company was 8, not long ago. So, literally not too far different.
Yeah.
So at that point we had, I think, 6 vans, maybe 8.
Yeah.
Maybe 8. It was going all right. We had the other office, so
you've moved
at the same time.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
right.
Because we just had to. We needed the parking, so we had another office. 8 vans, still not enough to cover pretty much anything for one person.
Right.
8 vans.
You're not earning enough.
So it was just it was all growth to try and just get the number of vans up, because they're all their own little cost centers.
Yeah.
So until we got to about 15, we couldn't really cover much.
Yeah.
So at that point, obviously, my dad passed away. We didn't have a driver's license. So
you didn't?
I didn't.
Right.
Daniel didn't, but he didn't work for us at the time. But obviously, his family, so he would chip in now and again.
Yeah.
That's when we got Kane.
Yeah.
So Kane was the only one with a driver's license.
Right.
But as you know, Kane, just having a driving license don't mean
it doesn't mean you can drive.
Don't mean you can drive. So
no.
at the time, we just had to do what we had to do.
And you were all living with your dad at the time, weren't you?
Yeah, so my brother literally just moved to my uncle. He was working with my uncle down in Essex, and he would come back every weekend mostly. And then there was me and Kane at the house with my dad. So it was pretty easy. Kane just came straight in, and slotted straight in. We were in too much because we had 8 vans. We weren't really bringing in enough. Like we were thinking, I was ready to do something else anyway. But my uncle was like, "Look, I think we should just keep it going, like for your dad," because my dad was so excited about the whole thing. Right from the get go, he treated every van like it was his own.
Pride
and joy. He got himself a new car. You know, every time we got a new one. So we couldn't let it go. We just had to keep going and going and going. But as you know, until Dan came on board, it weren't really going anywhere. It was like just a never-ending spiral of not really bringing in that much money, barely cutting by every month. That's what it used to be. But in the start, I guess a lot of businesses are like that. The outgoings are crazy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It almost a fake it till you make it. It's, every conversation, how's things going? Yeah, it's great. Deep down, it might not be. I guess then everything kind of moved to you and Dan. Yeah. How old are you? 27? Like
25.
25?
Yeah. 25 past my driving test.
Like, you've got all of that personal stuff going on. Your dad's died, and you're now taking over this business essentially on your own. Yeah. Like, what's going through your head at this point? Like, do you give up?
A couple of times in our heads, because we're not stupid. We're looking at money coming in and we're thinking things ain't adding up. It wasn't until Daniel got on board and really started breaking down the numbers and working out how much each van needed to make, seeing that pricing wasn't where it should be and bringing up the prices like where we could, seeing that half the problem is that we didn't have enough vans. So those 8 that we had were going out all the time, but 8 isn't enough. Looking at the amount of bookings we were getting in was looking like we maybe needed, at that point, we needed 14 or 15. That was the thing, we needed investment, which...
So Dan almost brought that whole business side of it in it. You were functioning, but he made it a business by looking at what was going on, how you can change.
So technically, you might have the wrong man on the podcast. So I was more like, I'm more practical, hands-on, day-to-day, and advertising side of it. I still don't really do anything with the banking to this day. Like Dan literally controls everything on that side, and it's better for it because it's not my forte.
Having somebody to talk to, I think, makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Because if you're on your own, it's even with someone to talk to, it feels lonely.
Well, he'll run things past me. He knows what he's going to do anyway, but he'll bounce it off me like a brick wall because it's coming straight back. He's going to do what he wants. That's the way he'll use me now. He'll be like, I think we should get another van, or I think we should sell this one. And no matter what I say, he knows what he's doing. He knows
he's doing it anyway.
But like I say, to have that someone just to bounce it off, follow him to the end, like I trust him.
I guess being family helps as well. So running a business is quite lonely. Like, I know you've got Dan to talk to, but still, even then, like, it's still tough. I certainly feel like there's still no one to talk to. Or,
it's a lot.
You know,
yeah.
Like, so do you go home and talk to, like, your partner about it?
No. Like, I don't know if that's a weird thing. Like, I try and keep the two separate because for ages it was taking over like your life, which it does. But now I like to keep it separate. So I've got Serena, Alfie at home, come home, keep everything separate. Okay. Like, she could barely tell you what happens in the like day to day, like running. She just thinks it's easy, easy life. But I like to keep it separate. I think during COVID times and the worry then with money and all that sort of thing, I don't like to bring that home. Yeah. I like to keep that separate. Obviously, at COVID times when you've got your full outgoings but hardly any incomings every day, like you're looking at the bank thinking, is this the last?
Is this the day?
Week? Is this the last week? Is this the last month? And then they were like, oh, here's furlough. And then you're thinking, right, well, that extends it a bit for us because it makes it easier to manage. And you're thinking, I don't want to let anyone go because obviously, it's like both of our cousins. So you can't really afford to pay yourself even. Yeah. And then they're like, all right, okay, well, here's a business loan. So literally, just when we were thinking, we're going to struggle to get through this, they would hang out another help.
I mean, I wouldn't say the help was as good as it could have been.
It
was enough.
It was still, it was still a stretch. And to be honest, it just started to pick up as we got that loan. So we managed to be able to use that loan to reinvest in the company rather than it being wasted on
wages.
Wages and just general outgoings. That was a good thing, being able to because finance is a much higher rate than like what the loan is.
It's a lot cheaper to get a loan than it is to finance.
That really helped, to be honest. I think we managed to renew like a good 5 or 6 vans off of that loan, selling old ones and getting new ones, and it sort of really updated the fleet. So we came out of that Corona period stronger than we went in. It's weird how it worked out, but it worked out for the best.
And actually, I think there were quite a few businesses that did benefit from it. I think certainly some of the ones I've talked to have only benefited from all of that. Obviously,
do you find that it's hitting some businesses now? But I know it was a little while ago, but I'm starting to see businesses close up now, or that have got multiple branches closing one branch now, and I'm thinking...
I think what it did is it forced people to work from home. Yeah, so actually, everyone's gone up. We can work from home as a business. Why wouldn't we? Actually, we don't need this size office. We need a smaller office, and we can just work 3 days a week in the office. Equally, the recession's starting to hit, and people are seeing energy prices skyrocket. And the bounce back loan was great because it was free for a year, or you didn't have to make any repayments for a year and no interest. Suddenly now repayments and interest are included, and that's hitting them. Yeah. So it's almost everything coming together at once, and getting them loans for certain businesses, if you're covering your costs, actually all that did was shifted you forward a year, which is where we are now. So they've been shifted forward to now. They've struggled over the last... And
the economy hasn't really kickstarted again.
No, it's almost it's a matter of time before they struggle, which is what we're starting to see.
I see it quite often.
So you mentioned your work-life balance, kind of how you keep it very separate. Are you happy with the way it is?
Yeah, I am right now.
And how do you manage that?
Shutting off when I get home. Obviously, it's like Dan's going to call me on my days off all the time. I'm going to call Dan on my days off all the time. Yeah. We understand it's like that, but I do like to just sort of sit my phone to one side when I get in now, because you only get a couple of hours. You know what it's like. You get home from work, before you know it, it's bath time. Yeah. Before you know it, that you're putting them to bed, and then you got a couple of hours and you want to get to bed before the baby wakes up again, and again and again and again. Work-life balance is still 90% work, but I do like to separate it and just take my days off properly. And I used to come in on all my days off, every single one of them. Now, probably come in on one of them for a couple of hours, and the other one I'll take fully at home. Try and give Serena a break. Yeah. Because again, that's another thing. Forgetting about them at home all the time with the baby, it's a lot. So maybe try and give her a break on one of the days, and then she'll do vice versa. Say if it's a weekend, she'll take him one day round to her mum's, try and give me a rest. I can just sit and chill out. Yeah. And then I'll do the other day. Because that's the thing, when you're working and got a kid at home, especially a young one, is 24/7 basically. Even when you're switched off, you're not switched off. Yeah.
Something happens, you're alert. You hear them stamp their feet down. You're suddenly wide awake. What's going on? Are they okay? Do I need to go and check on them?
It's 24/7.
So I guess something I think about a lot. Do you feel guilty with Serena being at home and when you're working?
On easy days, yeah. So you do get those days where everything's just not quiet, but just ticking along. Yeah. You're sitting at work, I might have a podcast in my ear. I might be watching Twitch on the computer. Yeah. Just taking a slow day, recharging, just taking a slow day, and then I'm sort of chilling at work. Yeah. And then obviously I know that she's at home, chasing him here, chasing him there, everywhere. He won't go for a nap. He won't eat. He's teething. Yeah. Sometimes I feel guilty, but then she does love the whole package. She's always wanted it, and I think she's just enjoying, even in the chaos, enjoying everything that comes along with it.
So she's never struggled or anything like that, or
just with the sleep sometimes, but that's you forget about it quickly. He slept really badly for a long time. I'd say 14 months, right? Before even a hint of not waking up 5 times. Now he'll wake up once, maybe twice, but he's easy to put back down. In the beginning, we went through a long period of 4-5 times a night getting up. She wouldn't want me to do it because I was working the next day, but obviously it takes its toll. Even you're never asleep, you're always hearing it, so I might as well be up anyway. That's the way I was thinking about it, because you can't sleep through it. So that was one of the hardest bits, but now we've come out the end of it, you forget about it, and that's why you start talking about another kid and planning another kid, because you forget how much of a stress it was. It ages you.
It's scary what the mind does, but you forget about the how tough it is. You forget about, as you say, waking up 5 times a night. Actually, by now you've probably forgotten about, we get up once a night, it's fine. Not a problem.
See, as you mentioned, we both play games, right?
Yeah.
I've sat there till 3, 4 in the morning playing, but it's the every night that kills you.
Yeah.
Like, that would be like one night a week on a weekend, but every night of not sleeping, you become like a zombie. You don't even do your job properly.
It changes you.
Yeah.
And I found myself almost getting frustrated. Why won't you take this bottle of 200ml? Just drink it, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And I know it's not, the baby doesn't want it.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing you can do about that. But you're almost like, just take the bloody bottle. Or I say.
And you start to blame each other. That gets thrown around loads of time.
You're doing this wrong.
Yeah.
Or it's
See,
not
I'm
wrong,
not
differently.
argumentative, so it's sort of like a one-sided thing.
Yeah.
I would just let it go. Obviously, sometimes just argue back, but majority of the time, like, I just let it all go. Let her say her piece. Just get it all out of her system, and then an hour later, she'll be like, "Sorry about that." Like,
yeah.
But you just got to understand it, because the lack of sleep will cause it drives you crazy.
It's mad what it does. Yeah. No, I completely agree. So I guess we've kind of covered it, but talk me through one of them moments when you thought you just can't carry on with work or in the business.
Right. When COVID first hit, and there was no hint of a finance packet, because obviously the country's never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know that a finance package existed, or that they would come up with anything. I just thought that everything was going to go to pot. I was sitting there working out how much every van costs, how much we owed, would we have enough left over to pay off everything? Because what you've got to remember is, like, me and Daniel both got kids at home, both got our own houses, but we're also guarantors on finance in the hundreds. So then when you start seeing your family at home, you're thinking, if we can't sell these for enough to pay them off, we're going to be left with a obscene amount of finance in our names.
Personal finance.
Exactly. Like when you're the guarantor. So at that point, then, I think even Dan was at the time, like, looking at other jobs, thinking, what would we do if we didn't do this? We've invested our whole lives into it. Like, I graduated 10 years ago, maybe, like something like that. Yeah, I couldn't go back into a job. I graduated 10 years ago. I haven't used it.
Yeah.
Like, it's gone now.
Yeah.
So it'd be, you're starting from square one in something again. And when you've got kids, and it's tough.
Scary.
So that was every night, like, that was a lot of stress. Just thinking, like, how are we that I wouldn't get a job that would bring in enough for me to stay in my household with no experience. Yeah. And that was half my problem. I was thinking it would literally be, I'd have to, like, I wouldn't be able to afford it. I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
That's the long and short.
So what's going through your head at that point? Panic? Just...
Yeah. Am I going to have to move back in with my missus and her mum? Like, am I going to have to sell the house? Like, really go square one and build back up again from the bottom. But we had that option. Some people don't have that option.
Yeah.
So then it would have been an even scarier place, because then you're selling a house and you don't know where you're going. I mean, we're lucky enough to have people around us. On her side anyway. On our side, it's literally just me and Dan. On her side, we're lucky enough to have people around us that would help us out.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad. They were even saying at the time, if you need money for like this with a business, because obviously everyone's scared. Like, they're thinking, right, well, there was times when I hadn't got to work for 2 weeks. They were telling you couldn't leave the house pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then all the outgoings were still the same. Rent had to be paid. Finance had to be paid. Insurance had to be paid. It took a while for these other companies to catch up with what was going on. Our insurance company lost our business because they had no flexibility. It was peak COVID. Our insurance renewed. There was no like, oh, if something happens again, you can take all these 30 vehicles and put them in a separate policy, which just covers them for fire and theft, which is much cheaper to drive. And they wouldn't offer that. They would only offer on-road annual premium of 36,000 or whatever it is.
Right.
Whereas the other insurance company was like, look, if you want to lay everything off the road, it's $3,000.
Yeah.
And you keep it down the yard, which was a lifesaver, because coming back from COVID, we would have 15, 16 vans, because obviously it was still really slow, because some people were out, some people weren't, some things were running, some things weren't.
Yeah.
So we basically cut the fleet in half, left half down the yard.
Yeah.
And then half we were running. So our costs were halved, like, pretty much. That's one of our biggest costs. So that helped us out a lot. Just being able to run 14 vans. And then when we were getting busier, we had one on.
Yeah.
Add another one on.
Yeah.
And
so
then
slowly
before you know it, they were all added on.
Yeah.
But it gave you that flexibility where, like, again, that was another lifesaver. But that was just other businesses struggling to catch up with what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, it took a while before everyone.
And also being arguably greedy, but then protecting themselves.
Yeah,
they need
them.
them.
Forget they're a business at the end of the day. They're not working. It's not. Yeah, it's not charity. Like, that's our insurance company. We don't want them to go bust at the same time. So it was a struggle for everyone. Like, so rare. I don't know if anything like it will ever happen again.
No, and I certainly hope not.
No,
that's when things were real tough. What made you carry on?
Knowing that I couldn't do anything else.
So it was almost fear of there's no other option.
We have to make it work. Again, I think it made our business like 1,000 times stronger than when we went in. We used to waste so much money, so much. And now we look at everything to the penny and break it down. And then again, having a kid solidified that again for me. It made me look at the business in a whole, and just the business in a whole nother light. When I was younger, I was thinking growth. Now I've got a family, I think stability. I'm not always thinking about how much more vans can we get? Could we get other sites? I'm thinking, let's fine tune this, which we've managed to do now. Literally, the model works and it just pretty much runs itself.
Just runs, yeah.
And that's where I'm comfortable now. Till Alfie gets a bit older, till Daniel's son gets a little bit older.
Yeah.
And then we'll look at it and think, what else can we do? But at the minute, I'm enjoying stability and then family time and trying to keep stress.
It's mad how quickly that changes.
Yeah.
I'd say exactly the same. You're hungry, your appetite to risk, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mind. We won't pay ourselves for a month and we'll get that extra thing. But now suddenly you've got Alfie to protect. Like
it changes.
He is solely reliant on, well, I mean, not solely reliant on you, but reliant on both of you and Serena. Yeah. So like, suddenly
it changes your mindset. And I mean, did you come from a family where like your dad would do anything? Your brothers,
yeah.
I'm the same, and I didn't really understand it until I had Alfie.
Yeah.
Now it's all about stability.
Yeah.
Like we take very little risks. Everything like is literally penny watched, and we notice a massive difference.
Yeah.
I mean, our Uber Eats bill used to be enough to like draw like tears from your eyes. Now, like even silly things like that, like fine tuned, like we just don't waste money like we used to.
And now it's nursery fees that are eye watering.
See, I don't like. See, we don't have to use it because Serena doesn't work. Like, it's just one. I mean, like she'd go back to work for no money basically if we did. So she does everything at home, like literally. She'll have them 24/7, which is it does drain on you. Sometimes nursery's a nice break. Some people like to go back to work, just to get that little break. But at the minute, she's enjoying it. She's not mentioning going back to work. She might want like in a year or so when they start giving lip back and that. You know what? Like I'm going to put you in nursery a couple of days a week and see how you go. But at the minute, like not. But yeah, nurseries they are crazy. I mean, where my sister lives in Holland, the structure is completely different. They encourage you to go back to work. And then the nursery fees is minuscule, honestly. Like, I think it's like two or 300 a month. And that's full-time nursery.
Wow.
Like, for two.
You're looking at that for a week.
Exactly. Like, and that's what I think needs to change. And I think the economy would benefit from it. Sending people back to work. Double everything. Like, it's the same.
On that, yes, it would be good, but you just said Serena doesn't want to go back to work.
Yeah, I know, but like, I think part of that is looking at nursery fees and thinking it's not even worth it.
Yeah.
Before I even start or think about looking at work, it isn't even worth it. Like, working yourself, it's bad enough, like, working for as it is, like, and then you look at what you bring in and you think, oh, geez, that's a lot for that. You know, especially when you're working for someone else.
You're earning as much as as much as it's costing.
Yeah.
So essentially, your whole time at work is just paying for them to go to nursery, but it's paying for that space. I get why people do it as well, because it's paying for that headspace, paying for a couple of hours where you can have a normal conversation.
Yeah.
You know, she sat at home, probably the only person that she gets to talk to is Alfie. Like, that's tough.
That's the weird, like, balance thing that you got to get used to, because I come in from work talked out. I'm talked out. So by the time I get in, I want to sit quiet and relax. Whereas she will want to talk because obviously you haven't spoke to anyone all day.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I think I struggle to, I should probably be a bit more accepting of that. Like when I get in, I want to just chill out, just open my phone, just sit on my phone for a sec,
Yeah.
eat my dinner in peace.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, I do forget sometimes that like,
She's had that full day with no one to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Like, might go out, might do certain things during the day, but most days, that's just no conversation.
And you lose your mind not talking to anyone all day. Like, I need to get better at that.
I mean, I've sat at home and done that to my daughter like once or twice, like for the full day, and I've gone insane. I'm like, I need to go somewhere. I need to see someone. I need to talk. I need to do something because this is.
I forget that side of it.
Yeah. Okay, so what motivates you? I guess let's go back. What originally motivated you when you... So this is before being a dad. What was your motivation? Let's say you and your dad are just starting out. What was motivating you?
Setting my dad up. Yeah, setting my dad up. He'd worked really hard. Obviously, we had my uncle there, and he was willing to invest to help my dad.
Yeah.
So that cushioned a lot of the pressure, because we just thought, right, well, we don't have to worry about that side of it. So we're putting everything into growing it. That was what kept us going. We were every day we were like excited about just starting another day. If we had a day where nothing went out, like we would clean everything, top to bottom, check everything, tidy the office. We were excited about doing anything. That was the thing for me, because I wasn't planning to do it forever. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was going to do something else.
What were you going to do? Where were you going to go?
So at that time, when my dad passed away, I was trying to join the RAF. I'd gone for my first lot of interviews and stuff.
Did he know?
Yeah. Because I wanted to be a pilot. I'd done quite a bit, and it's just something that I fancied doing. I didn't fancy doing the forensic science that I'd done at uni. Like, I think that's half the struggle with uni and the way it works in this country is you just sort of leave school, you jump straight into that, and then you don't really know what the end product's going to be.
No.
And then all of a sudden, you get to your final year, and they're like, placement this, placement that. And if you can't find one, you're leaving uni with no work experience and with a degree that doesn't really translate to the working environment in forensics at all anyway. It's a struggle whatever you do. RAF was an easy path for me. That's why I enjoyed school. I like being told what to do.
Yeah.
That's why I enjoyed school, and I enjoyed university, because I'm a good student.
Yeah.
That's me. Like, if you ask me to do something, and I like learning. So I thought RAF's going to be a perfect environment for me. Like, I go straight back into the sort of that studying mentality. I'm learning to do something again. I didn't want to let that go for a period of time. When I left, I was lost. I was like, I'm not learning. I'm not learning anything.
Right.
Like, what am I doing? But then that's where I switched, because I started putting that mentality towards the business, and then started to learn about the business and learn ways that I could improve it, advertising sides of it. And I really started teaching myself in that sense.
Yeah.
Google ads, Facebook ads, the website, taking all of that I'd sort of outsourced, learning about it, and then taking it all back in. Now we control everything to do with that. But that was another it was just setting my dad up. That's all it was about. I wasn't going to do it forever. But obviously things changed. Then he passed away. And we just didn't want to let it go.
So it's almost like you're carrying on for him.
Yeah, it is 100%. Yeah, and I feel like the way things have gone, someone had to be looking over us.
Yeah,
someone had to be. There are times that, like I say, I've thought about, especially through those Corona months. Our outgoings are astronomical. Honestly, it's one of those businesses where your outgoings are so high. If you're not bringing money in, then it's scary. Some businesses, your outgoings are quite low, and you can take a couple months of not bringing in much money. Ours are consistently high. That's just the way it is. Someone must be looking over us somewhere. I believe it's him. I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
He also wanted it to work, and he also put everything he had into it.
Yeah, that's what I like. And then, I don't know what it is. I believe, I don't know. No, it's not good. Maybe good karma. So if I come in, and even if it's a slow day, if I give 120% on that day, the phone starts ringing, things start happening. If I come in on a slow day and take it easy and don't do anything, and mope around, I don't know what it is. I feel like if I get to work and I start doing all the things that my dad would have been like, that this needs doing, that needs doing. Well, if nothing's going out, you can check these, you can check this, you can do this, work on the AdWords, do other stuff. I think when I start working, things just start clicking again. These days, it doesn't really matter, because it does seem to just, the longer we go, the more people know about you. it just runs itself now, basically. Then you start thinking about opening another business and using the things that you've learned about this one.
Yeah.
But I need to calm down a bit, wait till Alfie gets a bit older, I think, because free time wise, like I'd end up starting something and not be able to give it 100%.
Yeah.
And you can't give something 50. If you give something 50, it's going to fail.
Yeah.
You have to be able to give it 100. So
it's something I see a lot, but equally in entrepreneurs, you know, you started a business, you were there from the beginning, you've understood everything, or as much as you could.
Yeah.
So then suddenly you're thinking, oh, I could do this again.
Yeah.
I can, and I've got an idea for this over here, and I could do that. And going back to actually having a baby, like you forget all of them tough times, them times you set up.
Yeah, exactly.
You set up till midnight doing Google Ads. You set up building your website. You set up tweaking everything. Them phone calls to the insurance companies. Do you really want to put yourself through all of that again? But you forget it.
Yeah, I know.
Because you get excited by the bit that you're at now.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. But then I think just that excitement of a new business is like a drug. Once you start it and once you get ideas and once you start steamrolling, you're an idea man. I know what you're like. So once you get that idea, you can't let it go for a bit. And sometimes I've let ideas slip, just refocusing on. But I know I've had ideas that if I would have stuck to them and I didn't have this and I would have given it 100%, like they might go somewhere, you know.
But it's also having the time or finding the right time to do it. Yeah. So again, I thought about doing a podcast 2 years ago. Yeah. It's taken me this long just to get something going. Almost you never forget them ideas either, and they'll always be there. Yeah. And one day you'll
they don't really go. I've let them slip, but they're still there. I'd just like someone. The thing about me and Dan, we both have different ideas, and if there was one shared idea that we both had 100% confidence in, I feel like we started tomorrow. But when we work together and we rely on each other, it would have to be worked on in time that we spend with our business, whatever it is. Yeah. So we need to find something shared, which probably won't come until, like, say, the kids get a little bit older, they go to school, like everything's just like you've got a little more time on your hands. Yeah. Then I think we'll be able to put our heads together.
So going back to you and Dan then, something I remember, so my dad used to work with my uncle.
Yeah.
They used to argue and they went through stages where they didn't talk. How do you find that with Dan when you don't agree on something?
Do you know what? Growing up, we would fight every day without fail. Like, he's my bigger brother, so I'd always end up getting a doing. But yeah. I don't know what it is. He needs me and I need him.
Yeah.
Like, and I think we both know that. And we don't argue at all.
Right.
Like, honestly, not once. We just don't. I think it's just a mutual respect for what the other one does. And like together, we're literally a complete team.
I mean,
without him, I'd be lost. And I know without me, he would feel the same. Our bond there is like stronger. Like, we don't fight over nothing. Like, nothing small. We just sort it out. We just don't.
And that's what makes that the perfect team. Actually.
Yeah.
You might disagree. You might say, actually, I don't think we should do that. But you're talking.
We talk it out. We just know the importance of every decision that we've got to make. And we always come up with the right decision. Like say, if it's on my side of expertise, like, he'll let me take the reins. And I know anything on the financial side, I let him take the reins. I trust him with every decision. And there's been decisions in the past where I've made it and it's gone wrong. He's made it, it's gone wrong. But we don't play the blame game either.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that helps. Like, never will I say, oh, Dan, that was your fault. And he won't say, oh, Alan, that was your fault. We take the responsibility together because we know that I've gave him free rein. I haven't put my 2 pence in. And he's gave me free rein on the other side.
Yeah.
So if something goes wrong and you haven't put your 2 pence in, you can't really blame them either.
No.
Because we sat and we spoke about it, and this is the decision we came up with together. So I think that's half the trouble. It's not blaming, just taking responsibility together, and that's what we do.
When you're making them decisions, it's really tough just to make them decisions. But then, as you say, the blame game is tough as well. I mean, how many mistakes do you make? Because
back in the day, one a week. Now, there'll be one every couple of months. Wrong decisions. That's what the learning thing is.
Yeah.
Like, how are you learning if you're not getting things wrong?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not trying things, you know? Back in the day, obviously, we would get something wrong pretty much every day. Then it starts to get every week, every month. But you're learning every single time that you do it. And then you'll never do it again. You'll never make that wrong decision again. And that's the good thing.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's about learning, not blaming. That's what we do all the time. We never blame each other, like, ever. Like, we just keep it a solid foundation. Otherwise, that's when you start to crumble. Like, if you start blaming each other for things that are going on, then nothing can last long. Same at work, same at home.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's a partnership at work. It's a partnership
Yeah.
at home. Who has had the biggest influence on your life?
Was my dad.
Yeah.
Now my son. Honestly, it's a different kind. Like, it's a short period.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 18 months. It makes me appreciate my dad more as well. What he went through with us as kids, and literally never stopped. I mean, we moved up to Scotland. He had to stay down here. It was tough, like, for him.
Yeah.
But like, he was still like, one of the big. He was just a nice guy. I mean, we had someone in the office today who looked at me and like recognized my face, and he said, "Are you Alan Frost's son?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, you look just like him. I used to work at the Holiday Inn. I was his apprentice. Like, he was just such a nice guy. Because I made a joke with him. I was like, "Oh, bloody hell, if you were his apprentice, you must not have learned too much then." Like, probably about bodging things up. He straight like went to defend my dad. He was like, no. Like, honestly, like, he was a lovely guy, like a legend. That's just what he was like, helping others. Honestly, like, that's what he was known for. Anytime anyone passes away, everyone always says the same sort of stuff. But with my dad, he really was like, he helped everyone, done it without wanting anything in return.
Yeah.
And I try to be the same. Like, and especially now, like, I know I'll do anything for Alfie. I know I'll do anything, like whatever needs to get done, and try and just give him every platform that he needs to excel and just play it there. It's both of them. It's my dad and then, my uncle as well.
Yeah.
I can't, like, the things I've learned business wise, and also like seeing someone that has like what you perceive as everything, but teaches you that what matters is the small things in life. It isn't like flash things. It really isn't. He enjoys nothing more than sitting in front of the telly watching the F1 with a pork pie, and honestly, the small things, and that's what he enjoys, and that's what he taught me. Starting up a business early on, you always aiming high and looking what other people have got, and the main thing is being comfortable. That's the main thing that he taught me.
So it's something I talk about a bit at the moment. I found that you're very hungry until you find you're enough, what your enough is, and then suddenly you can switch on to other things.
That's where I'm at now. I think that's where I'm at now. Like this is my enough.
Yeah.
Like, everything's running as it should. We've got through probably what is the worst thing the company can go through in the whole corona epidemic, and just the way it affected everything. I know the economy's still going through it, and God knows what's going to happen with interest rates and things like that, because we borrowed quite a bit. So, but I don't feel like it can be any worse than having to pay months and months of outgoings with no incoming. Like, we managed to pull it off, and I think we can get through anything now because of it. But I feel like, I'm at that period where I know it's enough. I'm at enough. I don't want to grow no more. Everything's like stable. We've got a perfect blend of when we're changing over vehicles, selling old ones, buying new ones, maintenance and everything. It's just all running like as smooth as you like. And that's where I want to keep it. One day I'd like Alfie and Arthur to take the reins from us, which is weird because I thought like I'd want them to do their own thing, but I just feel like it's such a good start position from there, because it's the sort of business where you can be working on something else while you're there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the office every day. I've got things running like clockwork now. So if I had something else to work on, I got a bit of time there. I got a bit of free time. And that's what I'd like to be able to give them. It's just like somewhere where they got a platform. So you've got a wage coming in, you've got a certain amount of capital you can build up. And then if you want to start your own thing, you've got time. Like you can work here. It's not a hard job, you know. It's stressful, but not hard. So it's weird. So it's hard on the mind. Yeah, it's not a stressful job. When things are going easy, I don't think there is an easier job.
Right.
Like I really don't. But when things are going rough, but that's the same with everything.
Yeah.
But like I do, like I say, it's not. You don't really have to think too much in your day to day. If you want to take a day off mentally, you can. It's not going to affect things too much.
I think you're doing that in a disservice there, saying it's easy. When everything's going well, it's great, but something always puts a spanner in the works.
Yeah.
You know, you've had, again, I don't know the full ins and outs, but like people have taken vans, not returned them. Some of the states that they come back in, like.
Yeah, I mean, you always, but what you become to that is you become numb to it. The first 10, 15, 20 that happened to, right?
Yeah.
It hits you hard and you start thinking, why am I even doing this? If people were willing to do this to someone else's property, then why are we even like doing this? Now, it's just part of the parcel. To be honest, the way we've got it running now, we don't even let things get that far. Like they're all on tracker. Someone goes a couple of days behind payment, a week, we'll go and get the van. Like, with the spare key, we don't take no risks now. Before, we needed the money. That was half the problem. You'd end up taking these risks, thinking at the end, like they are going to pay up. Like you are going to get your money because you really needed it at that time. Exactly. That's where you get yourself in trouble, putting faith in people that don't deserve it. Now, we don't give anyone any leeway. There is no leeway. If you can't afford to have it, then we'll take it and you can have it back when you can afford to pay. Because them sort of people that are running like that, if they damage it, if they do something, they're not going to be able to afford to pay for it, and we're going to foot the bill like we did. That was half the problem. Like before Dan come in and really started fine tuning. I mean, even up to a couple of years ago, I'd say like 50% of people got away with like money owed,
whatever,
rightfully owed as well, but just would refuse to pay it. Now we pretty much get 95% of damage and things like that paid back to us. Because I mean, it's not even like we add money on. Like people pay exactly what it costs to fix.
Yeah.
The van that they've damaged or broken, and a lot of people appreciate that, and they're like, oh, we're expecting to pay much more. And some people, they would like lie blind to your face that they didn't do something that they know well they did.
Yeah.
So that's the 5%,
right,
that we don't get now. But 90% of people will pay up, and that makes a massive difference because we, like I say, we were just chucking in those early years, chucking money away, not wanting the confrontation from people about did they do it or not. And then as soon as they said no, they didn't, we would just take that as right. We can't do anything about it. Now we say, look, we've got the video before, we've got the video after. It wasn't there before, it is now. Now they start to change their tune. Okay, it must have happened while I had it. I will pay for it.
So you've put them things in place now.
Yeah. And that,
you've learned. That's
it.
You made mistakes. You've learned from it.
That's it.
You put them things in place. So actually, you covered yourself.
Yeah.
You're protecting yourself.
But like I say, it wasn't until Daniel really started breaking down how much money we were wasting on things like that he was thinking, wait a minute, this can take this business from not profitable to profitable just by making people pay what they owe. It's not even like we're adding money on, or it's literally just people paying what they owe us would take us from not being profitable to profitable. And that was the biggest change, because we were always worried about our reviews. Like, oh no, are people gonna, I mean, we still haven't got a bad review to this day, like 8 years down the line, because we do things fair. So even when people do us wrong, they know they can't like really say a bad word about us because we're doing it fairly. Like, we're not trying to, a lot of hire companies, saying no names, but you can check reviews yourself. They're looking to make money off of the damage side. Like, that's where they make a lot of their money. That's what makes them really profitable. £3,000 excesses, £2,000 excesses, things like that. Like where people will scratch it and they'll take that entire money off them. We're charging people literally what it costs us to get the van fixed. Yeah. And in the long run, that's helped us out. It's not about, like, that's the short-term gain in charging people extreme amounts of money doesn't get you very far. So that's what I've learned. It's just, we play fair. So like, get the money we're owed, because we're not trying to extort people. And that has literally changed the business around, like, on its own pretty much.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah. It's that much. It's that much money.
But talking here, it's such an obvious thing.
I know. But it was that early. It was that early starting the business where we didn't want a bad review, and like, you start to convince yourself that they didn't do it. Like, it must have happened like 2 minutes before they got down there. Someone must have done it. But now we've put, like I say, we put the processes in where they have to take their video and send it to us. It's the only way you can do it, because otherwise, like, if we do a check video before they get down there, something could have happened in between, and it has. Like, so we've had things happen in between, literally just pulling it up. Another customer will come back, reverse into it, drive off. Like, and then before we say to that customer, like, what the hell is this? And they're like, oh, it's in my video. And then, like, obviously then you haven't got a leg to stand on. Then you sort of like lost to them once. They come in the 5%. Like, just, they don't happen very often. But making them do their own check-in and check-out video, they take accountability now for that. They usually come straight to us when they've done something wrong. Before, they would just like leave the van there, and then we've
See if they can get
got
away
no
with it.
idea. Some people would know that we're a family business and still do those things. When it comes to money, it changes people. We've had really good customers, good paying customers, pay all the time. People that would pay like 500-600 like every couple of weeks, like on van hire here and there, and then do something that would cost 200 quid to fix, and would ghost over it. I'm thinking that's not even half of, like, if you came to us and said, like, look, I can pay 50, like 50 a week, like, we would take it. But people would rather ghost over it and not have to pay the money than just be honest.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Money can turn people like that, like switch them around. Like some of the nicest people.
And it can turn family as well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, 100%.
it can turn almost anyone.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were going to a dinner party,
Mm-hmm.
we're going for dinner.
Yeah.
You can take anyone in the world, past or present. Who you taking?
Take my dad. It's a celebration. Like, because I could talk to him about everything. Like, he would love where we're at now and just be enjoying it. And that's why I try to enjoy it a bit as well. Like, it's never a depressing place to be, like work. Do you know what I mean? Like, people come in like, damn, I'd love to work here. Like, this is what it's like. And that's what we tried to keep it like that because I'm proud. And so would he be. He would love it. Like, every single thing about it, he would love it. Like, he'd never not have a smile on his face at work, like the way things are running. And I'd love an hour just to run him through everything.
Tell him everything.
But then I think he knows.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, honestly, some of the things that I've got, like, someone must be looking over us, and if it ain't him, then I don't know who it is. But I'd love, just an hour, just to sit down, just let him know everything that's gone on. I know he would, he was so enthusiastic about it. So, yeah, that's who I would take, past or present.
Right.
Just him.
Yeah. I guess I already know the answer then. So what would you like to leave behind as your legacy?
Yeah, literally, our business, like mine and Daniel's, is for our sons, but also as a memory of our dad. They're never gonna. He's not gonna be able to be a granddad to them.
Yeah.
But this is sort of his gift to them that we've kept going, and it will always keep him in memory in that sense, because he's always going to be like, that is his. Like, that's the way we look at it. I mean, the way we work is like we're working for him still. Like, we don't work like we run it. Like, we work like we work there for my dad still. Like, that's the way we do it. And I think that is like the biggest gift ever, is just be able to pass them down something that I know come from my dad. I feel that's quite a special thing to be able to do.
He's still telling you what to do.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about it. Like, in the back of my head, I'm thinking he wouldn't let me get away with this. Or, this is what he would do. Because I wasn't really the most hands-on person, but my dad, like, pretty much taught me that you could put your hand to anything. And he would, like say when he was at Holiday Inn, I mean, he was the maintenance manager there, like doing it, like I say, borderline dyslexic, but doing electrician courses, doing all this, and like getting by. 54, 55 at home, doesn't really know how to use a laptop. It would take him 2.5-3 hours to do one worksheet. Yeah, he was just a hard worker, and I think like he wouldn't let us slack. That's what I mean. I'm not saying I don't slack. Yeah, I have days where I slack, but in general, I feel guilty for it, and that's where I get that karma thing from. Like, when I'm working hard, things seem to happen. So that's why when I get in every day, like, I have some things in the back of my head. And sometimes I don't do them. But when I get in, they're always there. And I think that's him. They're always there in the back of my head, like, this needs to be done, that needs to be done, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. It's like a check sheet that goes on in my head. And 90% of the time, you get them done. But there's some days where the day just gets away from you and other things happen. But I feel like I've always got them that set out thing to do every day. And that comes from him. Like, just getting in and just getting busy. Like, just try and make yourself busy and good things will happen.
Crack for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. Anything else that you think we're missing?
No, I think it's been a good chat. It leaves part 2 open. Like, for any more questions. But I've enjoyed it, and yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
If you've enjoyed listening to our podcast, please like and follow, and make sure to tag us on social media.